If you need Sunday school teacher training and you want to know how to teach Sunday school more effectively, then this video is for you. Hi, I'm Pete Mara with the Global Church Academy. We exist to educate, equip, and inspire Christian education workers around the world. We believe that you are shaping the future, and we're here to help you thrive. Being a Sunday school teacher or a small group leader is incredibly difficult. It's even harder when you don't have the tools that professional teachers have at their disposal. In this video, we're going to give you some of the practical tools and tips that professional educators have used to help them thrive in the classroom. Be sure to stick around to the end of our video, and we'll give you 3 pro tips from seasoned veterans on how you can become an even more effective teacher and help you along your growth path towards becoming the best teacher possible. Part of being an effective teacher is learning how to get your students engaged with the content and the material that you're providing. Have you ever had a time when you've put all this effort and energy into a lesson only to ask yourself the question, are these kids really getting it? Do they really understand? That's a frustration for a lot of us who teach and work with children or even adult learners for that matter. Well, one of the tools that the professionals use to help them with this is a tool called Bloom's Taxonomy. Bloom's Taxonomy was created in the 1950s by a group of researchers from Chicago University. And what it did is it provided a framework for educators to begin to think about how students and adult learners worked and interacted with the material that was presented to them. There's 6 levels to the Bloom's pyramid. The lowest level of the Bloom's Taxonomy pyramid is called the knowledge level. The knowledge level is needed to just help students and learners gain basic understanding of their subject material. I mean, think about it from a mathematics standpoint. If you want to become a great mathematician, you want to understand mathematics, you have to understand the basics of addition, subtraction, and multiplication. But it's really difficult to understand multiplication if you don't have the foundation of addition. So the knowledge level of the pyramid assumes that we're trying to build and develop the basic level of knowledge or understanding. You know, in a Sunday school course, this is oftentimes the opportunity for us to teach our students the basic understandings of Christian principles, of Scripture, and help them understand the very basic Bible stories and those types of things that provide the foundation for their learning and for their growth. Now, the next level in the pyramid is understanding or comprehension. In this level, it's not just about giving the students knowledge, but it's also about helping to test their understanding of the concepts and things that you've been presenting. Now, this is still a very basic understanding. It could be when children come back and they're able to recite memory verses. This is actually showing and demonstrating that they have some level of understanding of the base layer of knowledge that you've provided. But as you work your way up the pyramid, you begin to move into the application layer. Now, the application layer is the place where we want to actually see if the students, what they're learning, they can apply to real-world situations. Can they begin to take their foundational knowledge and even their basic understanding and begin to apply it? How to treat people, how it's going to maybe change their behavior, how it's going to change their outlook. These are the types of things that we're looking for as we continue to teach and work our way up the pyramid. As we move into the even higher levels, we're looking to try to understand analysis. At this point, we're asking ourselves the question, can students begin to analyze and break down what may be happening inside the story? You know, you think about your favorite Bible story that you share, and there's multiple layers to the story. And what a child that is in G1 or G2 or preschool may get is very different than a 4th and 5th grader, which is very different than a middle schooler or a high schooler. So the ability for a student to analyze and understand what is happening can only occur if they have those underlying layers of knowledge and basic comprehension. Now, the highest levels of the pyramid that we're looking at, these top 2 levels, are the ideas of being able to evaluate critically and understand critically materials that are presented, as well as ultimately creating materials themselves, coming up with original ideas and original thoughts. Think about Christian writers and authors and theologians. People at the top of the pyramid are always creating, but they're building on this incredible foundation that's been laid out for them. Now again, Bloom's Taxonomy is only one of the tools that's available. But it's an incredibly powerful tool for us as teachers because it allows us to look through our lesson. It allows us to look through our students and really think about where and how they're learning. Some students may be farther along the pyramid than others. So as you work on your lesson, as you work to adjust your lessons, be sure to take time to think about where your students may be in this pyramid and how you can move them up the pyramid. Even if they're younger students, there's still a lot of activities and things that you can do to help them move from just basic knowledge and basic understanding into application. There's things that you can do with games and songs and activities that really help move your students up this level and up this pyramid. Now, we said we wanted to share with you 3 tips on how you could use Bloom Taxonomy in a very practical way. Well, the first tip is to keep your learning balanced. One of the things that teachers often struggle with is the fact that we are the ones that have all the subject expertise. We have all the knowledge, and we want to pour that into the students. But the problem with that is it keeps students at that basic level of knowledge. And if we're going to kind of push our children up the pyramid, if we're going to encourage them to do these other things, we have to get creative with how we present the material. So don't always rely on just yourself giving them a lecture or telling them what to do and having them recite it. Get creative and let them figure out ways to play games. Let them experience the curriculum or the content in another way. Which leads us to item number 2. Let your children teach. A great way, especially for smaller children, for them to move up the pyramid is to give them the opportunity to teach the content to each other. Children are incredibly creative, and so are adults. And when given that opportunity to teach themselves and to teach each other, that automatically moves them up the pyramid because they have to begin to interact with the materials in a way that is entirely different for them. The third thing that's important, the third tip that we want to give you, is to be sure to have fun. So many times as teachers, it can be stressful and we can get focused on delivering the right lesson, the right content, trying to get the class through the activities, get them to the next event, and it can be overwhelming. Always work to make the learning fun. If the learning's fun, students are engaged and they're naturally going to be moving up that pyramid towards the top, which is exactly where ultimately we want to get them. We hope this information was helpful for you. And this week, when you prepare for your lesson, I hope that you take some time to look at Bloom's Taxonomy and really think about how you can make your lesson even more engaging for your students. And be sure to check out our comments below where you can find some links to download additional resources and information about Bloom's Taxonomy. Thanks for watching, and remember, you are shaping the future.